This is classically conditioned neural networks. This is an example for brain entrainment. Go to YouTube and type in Timothy W. Bioethics Issues. He discusses brain entrainment and neurocognitive weapons, which are two things that can be used in conjunction, either remote neural monitoring and or neurocognitive implants. And if you don't believe these expeditions don't happen, well, Timothy W. is speaking before the Presidential Commission, so I would think that also look at the YouTube videos at the sidebar in reference to once you're looking at the Timothy W. Video. For further videos in reference to how this is happening to thousands of Americans right now in real time. This is a neural pathway. If this video stops while I'm in the middle of talking or in the middle of showing you this diagram, look in the comments feature of this YouTube video for a YouTube title that will be a continuation of this video. And the reason why I'm making this video is to show you something. This is what is known as just a simple schematic, okay, for brain entrainment. And as you can see here, it's got one power source. And the power source is what happens to a target of organized gang stalking. Okay, that includes the harassment, the destruction of their personal life, their financial independence, their employment independence in reference to how they're blacklisted from employment, staged vehicle accidents, created homelessness, everything. And this is all done to keep a target, to make a target destitute, and then to keep a target destitute. Now, and this is done for hate dissemination purposes. Hate, powerlessness over what's happening to them, fear about what's going to continue to happen to them, depression that's experienced as a result, not including also the hopelessness and helplessness that a target feels, which ties in with the victimization of everything that's happening to them. And the organized gang stalking expeditions that happen towards a target on a daily basis, the harassment, is done for hate dissemination. And dissemination means nothing but the cultivation of something. And that is done to classically condition the neural pathways of hate, powerlessness, fear, depression, victimization, and everything that goes along with it. And that is all illustrated in this specific neural pathway that holds these neural responses that is created as a result of the experiences that produce the hate and the powerlessness and the fear and the depression and the victimization and the re-victimization, the traumatizations, and the total 100% victimization. It's just almost unbelievable what happens to organized gang stalking target. But these things that happen to a gang stalking target are done to classically condition neural networks for the brain entrainment. And that's all of these things that I just mentioned is one specific neural pathway that are neural responses in reference to what happens to a target, okay? And what happens to a target produces the hate and the powerlessness, the fear, the depression, the victimization, and the neural responses that a target experiences as a result of the victimization, okay? All these neural pathways that are classically conditioned are done purposely, okay? Like in other words, like when somebody comes up to you and hits you in the face, you're not only victimized, but you're going to feel hate, anger, powerlessness over it, because when you call the cops, you realize they won't do nothing about it. And then all the emotions, the brain states that are also included in these expeditions as a result of each incident. Well, that's classically conditioned neural pathways that they're deliberately forming. The neural responses, the thinking that goes along with the victimization, and the emotional states that are felt. These are neural pathways that they deliberately create as a result of what happens to them. And these neural pathways are classically conditioned and reinforced. Then once they create the total financial destitution of a target, that causes a target to run to the very system they're infested in. And then when they see that in order to be able to eat, they have to cooperate at a certain level. Again, if this video stops, look in the comments feature for a continuation in reference to a YouTube title that will be that you can copy and paste into YouTube for a continuation of these statements, because this is very important. Now, once they create the financial destitution, which causes a target to run to the system for help so the target can eat, what they'll then do is classically condition neural pathways to get them to cooperate, for loyalty, and for behaviors that are associated to cooperation and loyalty. That means what they'll do is classically condition neural pathways that has the thinking about cooperating and the motor cortex associated behaviors of cooperating, and then how a target might feel loyal to them so they can make sure they can continue to get this assistance. Yeah, and this is done deliberately, okay, to classically condition this separate type of neural pathway, okay? And this, as you can see, is these hate dissemination neural pathway goes this way. The loyalty and cooperation neural pathways that they form and reinforce go this way. And why did I draw it that way? Because these two separate neural pathways are in direct contrast with each other in reference to the themed relationships, in reference to the nature of each neural pathway. One has to do with total hate, and the other one has to do with cooperation and loyalty, okay? And then why do they do this? Because what they want to do is continue to, once they classically condition the cooperation neural pathways, once they're created and reinforced, they identify and mark them with remote neural monitoring. And why do they do that? Because they want to continue the expedition of exploitation towards a target, okay, which will wear a target down. This is about financial destitution and financial exploitation and sexual exploitation. And once a target becomes financially exploited, like taking over their finances, that's the racketeering aspect of this, and then sexually exploited, they start wanting to run to the police again. Well, when that occurs, because they know they're exploiting a target financially and sexually, and what they do through the stalking and the remote neural monitoring is they're monitoring a target's neural responses, and through the stalking they're monitoring a target's behaviors in reference to how they're responding and reacting to the exploitation. When they see that a target is reacting to it in reference to attempting to expose it to police officers, no matter if they're syndicated or not, because they will still attempt to try and make police reports. When they see that a target is reacting to the exploitation, they stimulate this neural pathway for cooperation and loyalty and behaviors. Whenever they stimulate that, those neural pathways are brought back into current consciousness in real time to get the target to cooperate so they won't expose or attempt to expose. Yeah, this is all about criminality, isolating the criminality, keeping the criminality going, and keeping a target neurally controlled so they can continue to be exploited. And this is what you call reverse thinking. Twin door, it's in mind control, it's called twin door mind control, where they create two separate twin contrasting neural pathways so they can, because the hate and the powerlessness and the fear is what helps aid and abet breaking a target down. And when a target breaks down, especially after they've been sexually exploited, they'll call 911 for help. And that's where they built the Medicare. Yeah. At hundreds of thousands of dollars. Then when they get out of the hospital, they're continually exploited. But they might have to eat right away when they get out of the hospital. So what they'll do to get the target to run back to them, yeah, under the, like putting a